so I got addicted to Apex again. Surprising absolutely no one. However, this time around I've been looking more into the personal mastery of Apex's mechanics on a raw fundamental level. I am still a hard-stuck Diamond 4 player, but that's besides the point. Mastery of any game, or any hobby for that matter, comes from one thing: experience. Experience is the best teacher one can ask for when it comes to learning in almost every form. Apex is a very complex game. It's an easy game to get into and play, but getting good at Apex is a vastly different story. So how does one get good at Apex? I'm mainly going to be talking about myself here, but you could probably take some lessons from this. When you first start with Apex Legends, you'd probably end up getting thrown into a proverbial melting pot of stuff. Smurfs, bad players, good players, the odd pro player here and there, and the average Joe who came home from work from his 8-hour shift and just wants to chill. So how did I go from a guy who could barely shoot straight to someone who can sometimes drop the occasional semi-high damage game? I practice a lot, starting off with the basics, learning how to shoot the damn gun. The firing range is your best friend for familiarizing yourself with the controls of Apex, alongside the various weapons to choose from. Not that you get much of a choice 95% of the time, as off drop, you're most likely going to end up with something like a Mozambique or a single P20. I'm not saying these guns are bad, it's just in the situation you're in, you'd probably want something better. Even with the dedicated weapon bins added for a couple of seasons back, you're still gonna get pretty unlucky. Guns such as the R301, with its easy to control recoil, decent damage, mid-range capability, it's a very good, versatile weapon that almost anyone can pick up and use. It requires a little bit of practice to get the recoil down, but when you get the recoil down, it's a laser beam. The flatline is when you want to trade the ability to control recoil for more damage. The flatline hits like a truck, and it feels like a truck when you're shooting it. It has a more difficult learning curve and a slightly more confusing pattern, but when you master the flatline, you can just get going with the flatline. The R9 is a bullet hose, and it's my favorite SMG in this game. Not surprising considering I can't sit still for more than 5 seconds like a kid on 2 hits of Adderall and several cans of Monster Energy. This gun is made for those that like to beam and heavily tweak because they missed the first 2 bullets of the spray and died. On the opposite end of that spectrum, we have the Car SMG, a gun that causes veterans of the Titanfall franchise to heavily flash back to being stomped by a guy that never touches the ground and kills them in 3 bullets. Even more so if the guy was running amped weapons. It's got a cool gimmick, taking multiple calibers of ammunition, meaning if the situation calls for it, you will never really run out of ammo. In fact, most of the weapons at the time of writing this are usable, genuinely usable. You could pick up anything and do semi-decently. The best sandbox to test weapon and legend combinations would be the firing range, and it's a really good sandbox at that, with its various settings, various ways you can practice mechanics of the game, to practice just about anything if you have the time and patience to. And believe me, you will probably be in the firing range a lot more when you're starting out. So, if you have been listening to what I'm saying and have been learning, gathering knowledge and necessary information and practicing sprays, what do you do afterwards? You learn what every character does. Being able to familiarize yourself with the cast of Apex can go a long way, especially when it comes to learning things such as composition and just what characters do. Even if it's a rough outline, information is experience, and as we've already established, experience is the best teacher. For people starting out, your best bet for a starter character would either be Bloodhound or Bangalore, and Bloodhound is, well, self-explanatory. Both of these characters are easy to understand and will make the experience of picking up Apex a tiny bit easier. People would usually recommend Bloodhound if you're new to Battle Royales in general, such as learning things like information gathering, rotations, tracking. If you're new to Battle Royales in general, Bloodhound is the character for you. The ability to scan with their tactical and having a threat sight passive makes for target distinction a little bit easier than most. Their ultimate is also incredibly useful. Beast of the Hunt highlights enemies and makes it easy to pick out enemies from the terrain. Just don't get overzealous with the ultimate, you'll be punished for your mistakes heavily in this game. And Bangalore, well, she's relatively simple. Being an assault class legend, she gains access to some things that the other cast doesn't, such as 2 dedicated grenade slots and the battle boost. Essentially what that does is when you crack an enemy's shield, you gain extra movement speed, extra reload speed, and it highlights the amount of HP the enemy has to your team. Bangalore's passive is when she's under fire, she gains double time. Essentially, it's a giant movement speed buff. Her tactical Typical is her smokes, which obscure vision and really does make it hard to track someone. You can grief your team with this, so I wouldn't advise throwing smokes out all willy-nilly. Only throw it out if you need to cross somewhere or you need to just throw off someone's aim. And her ultimate is Rolling Thunder. It's a delayed airstrike basically, but it does hurt, and it hurts a lot. Now you've got a couple options to choose from when you want to play Apex for the first time. What mode do you play? Me personally, I'd recommend Bot Royale. It's the game mode designed for newer players to break into Apex. Apex is sort of an interesting subject in the Battle Royale genre. Not only do you have to worry about all the movement and stuff like that, it's also because how fast Apex really is. It's not like Fortnite. Fortnite you can sort of understand, you can sort of like get a flow going, but Apex is 90% of the time, the fighting is blisteringly quick, so you have to keep up with it. Don't worry about keeping up with the pace of a fight now. Just worry about building up experience, and speed will come later. Bot Royale allows for new players to familiarize themselves with the game. You can queue into it with friends, especially some of the more experienced ones who can teach you a few things, or you can queue yourself. It's a faster paced version of the Battle Royale mode, because it starts at round 2, it has a maximum of, I think, 27 characters in the map at all times, and the game will give you tips and advice throughout the course of the match. You also have the mixtape modes, consisting of team deathmatch, control, and gun run. They're a very, very good mode if you want to practice the more fight-heavy aspects of Apex Legends. Now, just for clarification, control is the domination mode of the game, and gun run is just gun game. Mixtape will allow you to familiarize yourself with the game's mechanics against actual players. Many people use it as a warm-up before going into the main modes, such as trios or ranked. So the hell does this have to do with mastery? Well, I'm getting to this, so bear with me. All of this stuff I had to learn through my own experience. Now, back when I was starting out on PC, this was back in Season 5. When Loba dropped. You know, it was Loba's season, it was all cool, all that jazz. But I was but an innocent new Apex player. I played a little bit back when Season 0 released on Xbox, but I wasn't that good. In fact, the only time I ever remember winning in that game was once, maybe twice. But I can only really remember the one game right now. I couldn't shoot a gun to save my life. 90% of my days in Apex was run around, loot, fight and die to players a lot better than me, and there were moments of frustration because of that. I understood that to the utmost degree, that battle royales are an inherently frustrating genre to get into. In fact, I wouldn't say they are very welcoming to new players. You need to have a lot of patience and the willingness to give yourself the time to learn these things, because it's not easy. I had my moments, of course. I had my moments of hitting shots, my moments of amazing play, like times where I would actually do something really cool, but they were few and far between. Most of the time, I was playing with friends, never really confident enough to solo queue in the main modes of trios and ranked. The chaos of the mode is something that I found to be rather daunting in the regards of the potential skill ceiling. So, I stuck to playing with friends and main queuing arenas when that was a mode, more permanent in terms of Apex. The best I ever did in arenas when it had a ranked mode was Peak and Gold. It wasn't the greatest rank in the grand scheme of things, but for someone like me who never really liked queuing ranked in the first place, I was pretty proud of it. Then arenas gets removed and is replaced by the much more casual friendly mixtape mode. And mixtape has sort of become my home in terms of gameplay. When I play Apex, it's mainly what I play. Not only for myself, but for others who just want to shoot a gun and not really have to worry about the intricacies of the main BR mode. That was until my mate Dank introduced me to Max, and through Max, got to meet a bunch of other players that played Apex as much as I did. Kevin, Jacob, Aria, they're all really cool people. And because of their ability to play the game, I naturally wanted to become better because they had inspired me. And because of that inspiration, I kept grinding, I kept trying to improve. And it was at a point when they asked me to play ranked with them, I actually said yeah. In fact, I think that was like the first few things we did. We played mixtape, then we played ranked together. It was quite fun. And through ranked, we ended up meeting Mike, really cool fucking dude, by the way. And at that point, our own little team was formed. So when we ended up forming our little team, we ended up competing in the ALGS ALGS CCs. You know, I think it was the Contenders Circuit, I can't remember. The one that anyone could sign up to. And the best we got as a team when I was playing, I think we got round 2'd. Kevin and Max, and I don't know if it was Jacob or Mike. I think they got round 3 once, but they only got to round 2 with me. It was a fun experience. Stressful, but a fun experience. The complete difference in gameplay was an absolute shock to my system in comparison to the regular experience of ranked and trios, but it was something that personally I would want to experience again. Throughout the ranked seasons, I would end up being a flex player, but I would normally end up playing on the supportive characters in a meta, such as Conduit or any scan character when they were meta. The different playstyles made me rather versatile in like being able to switch them out on the fly. There's one playstyle I always struggled with, even though it would probably be something I myself would love to be good at. Aggression-based playstyles which incentivizes a snowball of momentum throughout the game. So when you roll one team, you roll the other, and the other, next. You sort of get the idea. Like a snowball, allowing for a team to steamroll lobbies. You'd think I'd be good at those sorts of playstyles regarding my usual repertoire of playing characters that capitalize on people's mistakes. I just never had the raw confidence to take fights that I wouldn't know for sure that I'd win or not. And that would cause me to second guess myself. It was that second guessing that ends up killing me in 90% of the fights that I win. And in the long run, that has always been a bit of a problem for me, personally, is confidence. I wasn't someone that liked to IGL. I don't like IGLing. I wouldn't call myself an IGL in general, for communication has always been my biggest pain point, especially when it comes to games that require good communication. I've been trying to get better to communicate like important bits of information to my team and my friends, but it's something that I will always struggle with when it comes to those aspects of Apex and in the bigger regards of it, life. Some of it is out of my control, but I do try my best to mitigate it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So fast forward to now, where am I in terms of my skill level? Well, I can consistently hit diamond, and I've found myself spending more and more time in the firing range, honing my skills, finding my playstyle while utilizing the sandbox that Apex has given me, with plenty of research and resources to help sharpen my skills to the best of my abilities, starting with my aim, my movement, and then my game sense. Game sense, and by proxy, knowledge, comes with time and experience. I might not be able to translate everything I do into the game perfectly. Hell, sometimes I even end up making questionable decisions, and at other times I just throw myself off the map. Yeah, that's happened recently. Hopefully, with enough time, practice, and experience, I'll be able to iron out those flaws in my own gameplay, but until then, I'll still enjoy running it down like a Disco Nunu on 2 lines of G Fuel in a high elo League of Legends match. So, until then, whenever I get another idea or something that I can make use of, I'll put things down into a Word document somewhere, and see if I can build a backlog of stuff from there. Until then, I'll be looking at pixels on a screen, grinding clips on Apex because I've got nothing else better to do. That's until I get an actual job where I somehow make this work. Either way, I'll be keeping myself busy. If y'all need me, I'll be in my usual spaces. Check out my Discord if you want to hang out with people or just to keep up to date with what I do, because that's mainly where I'm active. If you do like what I do, check out my Ko-fi. It's the best place to support me, but no pressure, of course. Also, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. The algorithm has always been a bit inconsistent at times, and I would like to gain a bit of consistency from it. It's been Azura, and I'm gonna go chill. Maybe watch a Quentin Tarantino movie. Love you guys. Later. Mwah.